China Current is a weekly news talk show from China to the world. We cover viral news about China every week and also give you the newest updates on China's cutting-edge technologies. Let's get started.
Welcome to China Currents, your weekly news report on the latest developments in China. I am Mimi, and in this episode, China launches anti-dumping duties on a US product. China launches a supercomputer into space. China and Russia will develop nuclear plants on the moon. China recovers cultural relics stolen by the US. China held a military drill with Cambodia. Chinese aviation industry and Huawei break multiple world records. First, a boomerang that is 1 year late. On May 18th, China announced anti-dumping duties of up to 74.9% on imports of POM copolymers, a versatile engineering plastic exported from the United States, the European Union, Japan, and Taiwan Island. This move originally follows an anti-dumping investigation in May 2024, which was triggered shortly after the US imposed steep tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and computer chips. In January, China's Ministry of Commerce concluded that dumping had occurred and applied preliminary duties, collected as a deposit, effective January 24. Now, according to Sunday's announcement, the highest anti-dumping rate of 74.9% was levied on imports from the United States, while European shipments will face a 34.5% duty. Beijing also slapped 35.5% duties on Japanese imports, except for Ahasi Kasei Corp., which received a company-specific rate of 24.5%, and a general duty of 32.6% was placed on imports from Taiwan Island. POM copolymers are widely used in the manufacture of insulin injection pens, zippers, lighters, and other daily necessities. It can partially replace metals such as copper and zinc. According to GuideChem, the US was China's primary source of high-end POM in 2024, alongside Malaysia, Germany, and Taiwan Island. Now, with new anti-dumping duties in place, that landscape is set for a dramatic and clear reshuffle. Moving on. On May 14th, China started to launch a supercomputer into space, and the first batch of 12 satellites was successfully launched into orbit. Once fully built out, this orbit network aims to deliver mind-blowing computing power, 1,000 peta operations per second. To put that in perspective, the world's fastest supercomputer today, America's El Capitan, clocks in at just 1.72 peta operations. That means China's space system could eventually be 500 times more powerful. Even this initial batch is no slouch. Together, the 12 satellites can crunch data at 5 peta operations per second, roughly 3 times faster than El Capitan. They're also equipped with AI, trained on 8 billion parameters, letting them analyze Earth observation data right in orbit instead of sending it back to ground stations. Why is China launching its most powerful computers into space instead of keeping them within its borders to reduce latency? This is because China's long-term plan is to replace traditional, energy-guzzling data centers. Right now, global data centers drain massive resources. By 2026, they could use as much electricity as all of Japan, plus billions of liters of water for cooling. However, these satellites can run on solar power and dump excess heat into space, slashing both costs and carbon emissions. China's ultimate goal is a network of 2,800 satellites linked by lasers, creating a seamless supercomputer in the sky. If successful, this could revolutionize how we handle everything from climate monitoring to AI, all while taking pressure off our planet's resources. Next, China and Russia take nuclear power to the moon. On May 14th, the South China Morning Post reported that China and Russia have signed a deal to build nuclear plants on the moon. In the memorandum, this project will provide energy for a jointly developed International Lunar Research Center, ILRS, targeted to be up and running by 2036. With the ILRS, China and Russia aim to establish a permanent research base on the Moon's south pole by the mid-2030s to conduct fundamental space research and test technologies for establishing a long-term human presence on the Moon. Roscosmos said, adding that 13 countries had joined the project. China plans to send astronauts to the Moon by 2030 to help build the station. Why is China developing nuclear energy on the Moon? This is because current missions to space, including crewed launches and orbiting space stations, rely on solar panels for power. However, each lunar day and night lasts about 14 Earth days, and some areas of the Moon are cloaked in permanent shadows, making stable and consistent energy supplies a necessity for future lunar bases. This will allow humans to extend their footprint to the far side of the Moon. Moving on May 18th, the volumes 2 and 3 of Tangu silk manuscripts finally returned home to China from the United States. The Tangu silk manuscripts, dating back to around 300 BC during China's Warring States period, are considered the oldest ancient classics ever found in China. They are more than a century older than the Dead Sea Scrolls. A historian at Nanjing University said, "The manuscripts are of foundational significance for the study of ancient Chinese script and literature, as well as for the history of Chinese scholarship and thought." The 2 volumes were unearthed in 1942 in China's Hunan province and were illegally taken to the US in 1946 and eventually ended up in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington. The return of the volumes followed diplomatic efforts by the National Cultural Heritage Administration of China since 2022. China's ambassador to the US confirmed that about 600 lost cultural relics have been returned from the US, over 40 just this year. However, around 1.67 million Chinese artifacts are currently housed in 218 foreign museums. Among them, around 23,000 objects are possessed by the British Museum. In 2023, some 2,000 artifacts from the British Museum's collection inexplicably went missing. Chinese media Global Times urged the British Museum to restitution of cultural relics made by other countries that have been looted by Britain, including China, India, Nigeria, and South Africa, which would be a test and verification of Britain's sincerity in clearing the colonial stain and making amends for its historical sins. But to this day, the UK seems to have failed this test. Next up, on May 17th, China and Cambodia launched the Golden Dragon 2025 joint military exercise. The 2 countries first held this drill in 2016, with participation limited to army units. This year, the scope has expanded significantly to include Army, Navy, and Air Force personnel from both sides. According to the Royal Cambodian Air Force, Cambodia has deployed 1,331 troops, while China has sent 845 personnel. The Chinese side also brought in a range of advanced military equipment, including the Changbaishan landing ship and 3 additional naval vessels, as well as 2 Z-20 helicopters, 20 reconnaissance and combat drones, unmanned ground vehicles, and C-5 command vehicles. The exercise is being carried out in 3 phases: adaptive training, command drills, and live force exercises, aimed at gradually deepening the joint operational capabilities between the 2 militaries. Chinese military expert told the Global Times that with more forces and branches involved, both the scale and scope of the drills have significantly grown. This year's joint exercise includes not only land-based counterterrorism operations, but also maritime counterterrorism and humanitarian rescue missions. Moving on May 10th, China broke the world record by developing the largest amphibious aircraft ever built. The AG-600, created by the Aviation Industry Corporation of China, AVIC, has now successfully completed all of its compliance flight tests. The AG600 boasts a maximum takeoff weight of 60 tons and can scoop up to 12 tons of water. With a cruising speed of 220 kilometers per hour and an operational range of 4,500 kilometers, it's perfectly suited for firefighting and logistics missions. Currently, one AG600 is serving in China's Heilongjiang province, where it will support a forest protection mission. Next, on May 15th, China's energy giant Huaneng Group unveiled the world's largest fleet of unmanned electric mining trucks in Inner Mongolia, featuring 100 vehicles powered by Huawei's autonomous driving systems. According to the chairman of this project, these vehicles mark the largest single deployment of driverless electric mining trucks in the world. These trucks are equipped with cutting-edge technologies, including 5G communications, AI, cloud computing, smart battery swapping, and high-precision mapping. They can operate in harsh environments and perform fully autonomous loading and unloading, boosting overall transport efficiency by 20% compared to manned trucks. According to the China National Coal Association, more than 5,000 automated mining trucks are expected to be in use across China by the end of 2024, a number projected to double to 10,000 by 2026. And this isn't China's first time to integrate AI and advanced communications into traditional industries. According to the Ministry of Transport, China now leads the world in automated port terminals. Thanks to its unmanned port system, containers are remotely aligned with centimeter-level accuracy, while AI-powered transport robots seamlessly deliver them to designated areas, completing the entire logistics process without human intervention. That is all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts or comments, please leave them below. See you next time.